Hello, welcome back to the channel. So excited to be back. We took a little holiday break last week for Thanksgiving. I hope y'all all had the most wonderful, grateful Thanksgivings. There was so much gratitude in the air. Like, when I say I was crying every day last week from the immense gratitude in my heart, I don't know what got into me. Like, this has never happened to me in my life. But I have just had so much gratitude for my life, from where I'm at in my life, for the people in my life, for the situations in my life. And my life is not perfect by any means necessary. Like, literally, we're not going to go into any details, but there are so many unfinished, unresolved, unsettling things in my life right now that someone else could say. But honestly, I'm just so grateful and thanking God every single day, because I'm really out here just vibing. Like, honestly, as you can tell by the title, we are talking about how you can become your most confident self in 2024. I'm only going to give one tip in this video, because this is literally the only one thing you need to know, you need to implement if you want to become the most confident version of yourself in 2024. Literally, when I started implementing this, it was a little difficult. There was certainly a learning curve. And I would say I haven't mastered this concept. It took me a while to master it. And it probably wasn't until this year, 2023, where I really felt embodied in this technique, embodied in this concept. And I learned it 3 years ago at this point. And so it might take you some time to really embody it. And by embodied, it just means it's truly a part of you. You're not constantly thinking about, oh, how do I implement this? Oh, whoops, I forgot to do it. And now I need to remember to do it. I need to remember to make it part of my routine, part of my daily habit. And that thing is being unbothered. That technique is being unbothered. That is how you truly become the most confident version of yourself. And when you implement being unbothered in 2024, you are going to see your confidence skyrocket. And what do I mean by being unbothered? Unbothered truly means you don't care about what other people think of you. You don't care about what other people say about you. You don't care about what other people are saying in their opinions about not even necessarily you, but maybe it's just their own opinions. And so when you walk with the energy of being unbothered, you can truly step into your authenticity. And your authenticity is the way to confidence. Your authenticity is the way to be the best confident version of yourself each and every day of your life, in every single moment. Authenticity is you living without restrictions of what this or that person's gonna say, what mommy or daddy taught you, what the school system, what society says you should do. It's saying, this is what works for me, and this is how I'm gonna move in life. This is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm going to think. This is my opinion, and nothing is going to change that. And so by being in the energy and maintaining the energy of being unbothered, again, you are going to see your confidence skyrocket. So how do you actually become unbothered? How do you actually begin to live in that energy and begin to embody being unbothered so that you can actually become the most confident version of yourself? The first thing you have to do is start recognizing how and when and where you are adhering to others' beliefs systems. So when I started learning this, when I started learning about being unbothered and started implementing it in my life, I had to start taking a very conscious look at, where am I saying, oh, well, this is what I need to do just because I should do it. Who taught me that? Who said I had to do it like that? If it wasn't me, nah, bro, we got to cut it out. We got to sit down, think about it, reconsider, is this how we should really be moving in life? And so personally for me, there were so many things, and this is what might happen for you as well. But for me, there were so many things that leaned back to, oh, well, this is the way I was taught as a child. Secret, I'm not a child anymore, and neither are you. Like literally, I remember having these conversations with myself back in 2021 and just having these massive epiphanies of, I was literally taught that when I was a child. I'm not a child anymore. I can choose my own way of thinking. I can choose my own way of thought. And I can choose actually what works best for DeJhauna at 28 years old, as I was at that time. And it literally just started to change my life. And a lot of times we might think that, oh, you know, we are and have implemented what works best for us as an adult. No, you haven't. I'm sorry to say, no, you haven't. You haven't thought about it enough. You have to start having a very conscious awareness of who taught me this, who told me it had to be like this, who said I needed to think like this, who gave me this thought, who gave me this belief, where did this belief come from? Question everything about yourself that you know to be true in this process of becoming unbothered. When I started questioning everything about myself, I really started to be able to develop my own opinions, my own beliefs, my own mindsets, instead of those of that of those of that. Anyways, instead of those that were taught to me, handed down to me, and not to say that they were wrong. Sometimes those thoughts, those beliefs, they weren't wrong. And I kept some of them, but sometimes they were just not what aligned with the most authentic version of DeJhauna. And I had to really say, okay, that was good, but what works for me? What is going to allow me to truly show up as the realest, rawest version of myself and not feel ick and not feel resistant? And so as I began to explore and question the beliefs that I had, question the habits that I had, question the mindsets that I had, and really question them in the way of, well, who taught me that? Well, who told me it had to be like this? Well, where did I get this belief from? I started recognizing DeJhauna, she didn't give me those beliefs. She did not come up with that mindset. She did not come up with that habit. So then I had to sit down and say, okay, what is DeJhauna gonna do now? That's honestly one of the hard parts, because when you have been operating first of all, when you sit down and start questioning yourself, this is not an easy process. I don't want to sit here and confuse you all of like, this is going to be a la-di-da process and it's going to be something super enjoyable. First of all, no, it's kind of gut-wrenching, and honestly, it really shakes your world up. So if you want your world to be shaken up, if you're ready for your world to be shaken up in 2024, decide that you're going to be unbothered and start implementing these things. It's going to be great in the end. Like, after you get through the shakeup, it's really going to be great, okay? As I was shaking up my thoughts, shaking up my mindset, I also had to sit down and say, okay, well, what does work for me? What is the belief I want to have? And this is where so much trial and error comes into place, because I have gone through so many belief systems in the last 2 to 3 years for some of the same things. And it's so interesting how if I had never questioned my beliefs, I would have been stuck where I was, who I was, and not even who I was, who maybe my mom was, who maybe her mother was, and her mother was. Like, that's the crazy thing about this. When you really start questioning your beliefs so that you can truly live an unbothered life and truly live in your most authentic energy, you will recognize, again, that a lot of the beliefs, a lot of the mindsets, a lot of the habits that you have, if you have not been questioning them up until this point, aren't even yours. And they're someone else's. And they're probably not even that person's. They were someone else. Like, anyways, this is why this is so important. This is why I really want y'all to implement this in 2024 so that you can truly be the most confident and authentic version of yourself. So once you start coming up with your own beliefs, it's going to be a lot of trial and error. You might decide, oh, well, this is what I believe in. And you implement that and you start moving and grooving through life. And it's like, actually, this ain't really working for me, girl. I don't like this. This ain't working for me. I don't like this. And personally for me, this was probably one of the more difficult phases of beginning to live a truly unbothered life and beginning to truly show up authentically every day, because I was a person who liked to choose, and I just like to commit. I wanted to commit to the new belief. I wanted to commit to the new thing, new habit. And when I was faced with, actually, this habit, this mindset, this belief doesn't align with me anymore. It's only been 8 months. It don't align with me no more. I was like, skirt, pump the brakes, because we just implemented this new belief. We just started this new mindset. We just aligned ourselves to this new habit. What you mean, girl? It don't align with us no more. What do you mean? And then I would become super resistant, and I would say, no, this has to work. We have committed to this. Anyways, that was a really difficult time for me, and I have had to learn that you have to be moldable. You have to allow yourself to be moldable and to change and to shift, because you're not going to know the first time, maybe not even the second time or the third or the fourth time, what is the most authentic belief system for you? What is the most authentic, true to self, true to soul, true to you mindset habit for you? So you have to trial and error it. And honestly, the trial and error period is excruciating. Okay, it's only excruciating if you're like me and you're resistant. I have come to the point where I am no longer resistant, thank God, and I allow myself to shape shift and move and realign and adjust when needed, because I know that if something isn't working for me, belief system, mindset, habit, whatever it is, that means it's no longer in line with my authenticity, and I have to remain authentic to myself. That is how I remain unbothered. That is how I remain happy. That is how I remain peaceful. And so it won't actually be that excruciating if you don't resist. So that's how you truly begin to show up and live an unbothered life. Now, it's also a part of living unbothered and becoming the more unbothered version of yourself, so that you can truly be the most confident version of yourself in 2024. You have to learn to tune out the opinions and the voices of others. And when I say others, I don't just mean those that are, in your friend circle, in your family, your coworkers and things like that. That's great. We should all be tuning out the opinions and voices of others that are, that close to us. No one is living the same life as you, and they do not know better than you, period. Okay? And they do not aspire to have the life you aspire to have. So they don't know better than you, period. And part of tuning out others is also part of tuning out what you see on social media, what you see on the TV, what you hear in passing, tuning out certain information and things like that. Because we are in the age of information, and it is so easy to overconsume and allow a little bitty piece of information to spiral into a belief that isn't even aligned for us. I think there are so many great gurus, myself included, and great teachers and coaches online in the internet spaces, but I include myself with this. Do not listen to everything that everyone says. Do not be dogmatic with a coach, with a teacher, with a guru. Even if, you believe that their specialty is their specialty and what they're saying is really aligning with you. Learn to have and listen to your own voice. That is one of the things that is probably going to be the most impactful along your journey of becoming unbothered. You have to learn to listen to your own voice. And this was the longest part. It has been the longest part of my journey to becoming unbothered, living unbothered, showing up authentically. Because often we have been so conditioned to ignore our own voice, not always in the bad way, but I think just societally, the way school systems are, the way we go to work and things like that, we can work these jobs for other people, and we have been so conditioned to ignore our own voices that you don't even know who you sound like, what you sound like. You don't know what your own voice sounds like. So learn to recognize your own voice, learn to listen to your own voice, and tune out the voices and opinions and thoughts of others. And tune out just meaning maybe if you hear something, then reflecting on, okay, well, how does this really apply for me? How does this really work in my life? Does this make sense for me? And if it does, great, apply it and implement it in the way that works best for you. But if it doesn't, throw that ish in the trash immediately, okay? But seriously, that is all you need to do to be the most confident version of yourself in 2024. Become unbothered. Start assessing where you got your current beliefs from, who you got your current beliefs from, how they came to be, where you got your current habits from, who you got those habits from, how they came to be. If they do not align with who you authentically are or are aspiring to be, start reconstructing those beliefs into beliefs, habits, mindsets that are authentic to you, that do work for you. A lot of my mindsets and a lot of my beliefs now are very different from my family members, from those around me, because I have decided absolutely what works best for DeJhauna. What works best for DeJhauna at this present moment. Now that I know what works best for me, I can truly move in authenticity for myself. And also, we're going to talk about this in a later episode, but authenticity is the most contagious, irresistible energy that you can ever be in. Like literally, the more I have stepped into my authenticity, the more contagious I have been towards others. And I can just tell when I go out, people are like, who's that girl? Where'd she come from? Literally, it's so weird to recognize, but I started recognizing it. So we'll talk about it in a later episode. Let me know if y'all want to hear more about that, because I just love the energy of authenticity. It is the highest vibration you can honestly operate at, other than love, but love and authenticity go hand in hand, and we can talk about that in a later episode. Also, reconstruct your beliefs. Start deciding what works best for you. What works best for you. Start tuning out the voices of others. Start tuning out the voices of the information that you're consuming, and start tuning out and filtering it and learning to recognize and assess, does this work for me? Is this something I need to apply? If it is, great. How can I apply it in the best way that's authentic and true to me and for my life? If not, throw that ish in the trash, girl, because you don't need it. You don't need it. And as you begin to implement these things in 2024, I would say start implementing them now, because if you start implementing them now in December, by the time 2024 begins, girl, you're just going to be on the rise. That momentum is going to keep going for you with the start of the new year. And by the end of 2024, let's not even say by the end of 2024, by June of 2024, you are going to not recognize yourself, because you are going to be such a confident version of yourself that you're going to look back on the version of you were in December 2023 and literally say, oh my gosh, who is that girl? Who is this woman? Who is she? Who am I? Who am I? It's going to be such a great experience, but it's also going to be kind of trippy, because you're going to have changed so quickly and showed up for yourself in ways that you never have before, because now you can confidently say, this is what's authentic to me. But also you're going to be so magnetic and so irresistible. So that's something to look forward to as well. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments how you are going to step into your most unbothered energy, what area of your life you need to be more unbothered in, and we can chat about it in the comments. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I will have those in the description box. As always, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.